Today I want to tell you about a Christmas rebellion. The year is 1831, the location is Jamaica, and the leader of the rebels is one Samuel Sharp, a Baptist deacon, preacher and slave. Although he was born a slave, Sam learnt to read and write and educated himself by reading newspapers and books. Religious meetings were a permissible form of organised activity by slaves, and Sam Sharp was able to use these meetings to inspire his congregations. He frequently spoke out against the injustice of slavery, and when he was just 31 years old, he instigated a plan that slaves should refuse to work after their Christmas holiday. Sharp hoped the owners might listen to the slaves, as the strike was timed for the key sugarcane harvest, and if the ripe cane wasn't cut, then it would be ruined. He hoped to inspire a peaceful resistance and encouraged the slaves to fight physically only if the managers didn't agree to their demands. As the idea for the strike spread throughout the island, the plan reached the ears of some of the slave owners, and troops were mobilised and warships brought in. On December the 28th, 1831, the Kensington Estate Great House was set alight as a signal that the rebellion had begun. Other fires broke out, and it soon became clear that Sam's hope for peaceful resistance was impossible. The rebellion lasted for 8 days and resulted in the death of around 186 slaves and 14 white overseers or planters. Retribution for the resistance was swift and merciless. Over 500 slaves were convicted and many were executed. Most were hanged and their heads were cut off and placed around their plantations. Those who escaped the death penalty were treated brutally, and many did not survive. Sam Sharp was named as the key figure behind the resistance, and he was captured and hanged in Montego Bay on a square now called Sam Sharp Square. His owners were paid the sum of £16 for their loss of property. At his trial he uttered his most famous words: "I would rather die upon yonder gallows than live for a minute more in slavery." The uprising that he had instigated was a key moment in the fight for the abolition of slavery, and just a few years later, in 1834, slavery was abolished and the system of apprenticeship was brought in. Then in 1838, the apprenticeship system ended and slaves in Jamaica were finally granted their freedom. Sam Sharp, the Baptist preacher, deacon and slave, is now officially recognised as a Jamaican national hero for the sacrifice he paid for his involvement in the overthrow of the oppressive and dominating system of slavery on the island.